Thomas Longprayer, the Chief Commissariat Officer, lived in a small weatherboard cottage here with his wife Charlotte and their 4 young children. Now, Longprayer is essentially the bookkeeper for this place, and he's assisted by the clerks, who live in 4 tiny cottages. You can see the remains of here. So back-to-back fireplaces, just enough room for a desk, a chair and a narrow single bed. But these clerks keep meticulous records. They are all convicts transported out by the embezzlement or forgeries. They're pretty good at the paperwork until they got caught. And they get to live in their little cottage/offices as well. They don't have to sleep in the penitentiary with the rest of you convict scum. See, even in the 1820s, white-collared criminals were treated as that, a bit differently. But we know from their records in 1828, 8,004 lashes dished out to 298 men. You punish men at a harder rate than that, you will kill them regularly, as opposed to occasionally that happened here. But just 1 year later, 1829, the records show 800 lashes shared amongst 30 men. That means a few of you are still getting punished at a very high rate, but it indicates an overall drop in the punishment rate of nearly 90% for the rest of the population overall. And it doesn't come from a directive from Governor Arthur, yet it does happen overnight. 31st of March 1829. Now, to understand this puzzle number 5, the sudden overnight drop in the punishment rate, we need to jump back 3 years, and there are 3 events that lead up to it. First, we have the arrival of a new Commandant, Commandant James Butler, who is an ambitious and autocratic man. The next, a major storm comes up from the southwest, washes away everything on this side of the island, except for the slip yards, and drags it out to sea. And in a 3-year period of enforced slave labour, Commandant Butler gets you lot to rebuild everything that has been destroyed. Plus, he commissions 2 new buildings, the site confinement jail we were at, and the new penitentiary we head to next. The next event that happens is there is a hanging in Hobart. Now, I told you Matthew Brady escaped in 1824. Well, he escaped with 14 others and had a brilliant plan that what he was going to do was attack the settlement, kidnap the commandant, free the lot of us and escape on a supply ship. Brilliant plan, wasn't it, Matt? It was. Just quietly, how did it go? No, it didn't go well. No, see, in his haste, Matthew Brady mistakenly kidnaps the drunken Dr. Garrett. And he's useless to your plans. Nobody's paying a ransom for him. But Matt does manage to drop the doctor off. He and his gang escape. And Matt vows he's going to be back to free the lot of us. And we're waiting, Matt. We're waiting 2 years, we're waiting. And then Matthew Brady's eventually captured by a young John Batman. Those of you from Melbourne will know him, considering your city was very nearly named Batmania. It's true. Now, I've got some good news and some bad news and some good news for you, Matt. See, the good news is you become a hero. The bad news is, how do people often become heroes? Posthumously. Yeah. You're taken to Hobart to be hanged. Oh, but more good news. You see, they didn't hang all the members of your gang. They didn't hang the youngest member, Babyface George Lacey. Why didn't they hang you, Babyface? Turns out you're not a cobber, you're a dobber. You gave up our hero Matt Brady to save your own neck. Got yourself police protection, Maria Island. Cushy little gig that, except you stupidly tried to escape. Twice. So what do?
Send you back here.
Send you back here. Have a look around, Babyface. You ain't too popular. You got our hero killed. So Lacey decides he better redeem himself. Quick, smart. He comes up with a brilliant plan. He's going to attack the settlement, kidnap the commandant, free the lot of us, escape on a supply ship. Sound familiar? Yeah. How did your plan go, Babyface? Not so good, did it? Lacey stationed out on Drummond Rock with 8 other hardmen. They built a raft. Under cover of darkness, they pushed the raft out, coming across to attack the settlement. You all pile onto the raft and... Pheasants wasn't your best subject, was it, Babyface? They scramble back to Drummond Rock and George Lacey brutally murders by drowning the convict constable George Rex. Now, why did you murder George Rex, Lacey? You don't know? No, neither do we. I mean, it could be excess adrenaline, frustration at a failed escape attempt, panic. Could be you know exactly what you're doing. You may have selected him for a symbolic assassination because of his name. The year of the murder is 1827. Any idea who the king is? King George IV, the tyrant king. Anyone know Latin? George Rex. King George. You may have symbolically assassinated the only person who can stop transportation tomorrow, but hey, let's be fair. It wasn't King George IV who started transportation. No, that was his dad, King George III. So whichever way you look at it, you may have symbolically assassinated the head of state. And this symbolism is not lost on Governor Arthur. Caesar's natural treason, you are taken down to Hobart to be hanged. He tricks you and spoke with a Lennon address the master. He thinks you're going to repent. You do nothing of the sort. Instead, Lacey gives a rousing speech in which he rejects church and state, king and country, and tells all the men assembled, don't give up the fight. Keep the rebellion alive. Inspirational stuff, Lacey. They hang you anyway. But when news of Lacey's speech does reach the men here on Sarah Island, the nature of the rebellion does change. And it's helped by the arrival of David Hoy. David Hoy is originally from Dundee in Scotland. He's come here via the shipyards of Boston, Massachusetts, to be master shipwright of a convict settlement here. The puzzle with David Hoy is why a man who not only is highly educated, independently wealthy, but above all is a civilian, has chosen to come here of his own free will. Puzzle number 7, the new penitentiary, is down the pathway. You lead the way, it ends at a cliff face, you know if you've gone too far. You're trying to save my life and I love you. How dare you?
You end up living here, you will.
So this is the new penitentiary and it's all that remains of the only 3-storey building here on Sarah Island, built from stone from the quarry directly below. Now this was a beautiful building. Sweeping stone staircase up the back, fluted columns around the doorway, an archway with a mock keystone cut into it, and the British coat of arms on either face. Bit flash for a bunkhouse for some convicts, isn't it? Well, it wasn't built for you lot to sleep in. And the British coat of arms on either face is something of a clue. I mean, obviously a government building, but any ideas? Anyone here had a misspent youth? You'd still pass under the coat of arms on the way to your parents today, wouldn't you? And Commandant James Butler, amongst other things, was a magistrate, and we think he's commissioned the James Butler Memorial Courthouse and Cultural Wing. It's never used as a courthouse, though. Not long after it's been completed, Butler is off the island, and it's given to you lot to sleep in. 90 men slept in here in hammocks, Navy style, and described it as very comfortable. But hang on, that's why it's puzzle number 7. You lot are supposed to be doing it tough. How come you're suddenly getting comfortable digs? Well, I'll get you back down to the muster yard and we'll start putting it all together for you. Partway through, 1829 just seems to be going a little bit soft, and there's a number of reasons for that. And it's down to men like Richard Pell. You're an excellent boatman, aren't you, Richard? Yes. Don't hide your light under a bushel, mate. Now, Richard, even though he's a convict, he's tries to take VIPs on tours of the harbour, and while he's out there he's collecting bundles of pre-cut sticks left by his mates in the convict pining gang, which he is then carving into decorative walking canes for the gentry of Hobart and selling via Major Champ. Nice little earner you've got there, isn't it, Major?
Wonderful.
Yes, I hear that you are getting £5 per dozen sticks finished, is that right?
True.
Yeah, trouble is Richard hears that too. Oh. You told him he was only getting 2 and 6. And when he finds out you've been ripping him off, he's not happy. So he reports you, and you, Major, are dismissed for trading too obviously with the convicts. Oh, but don't feel sorry for Major Champ, everyone. He does turn up again later in Tasmanian history, when because of the convict stain, the island of Van Diemen's Land is renamed Tasmania. Well, who do you think gets to be the first Premier? Welcome back, Major. I know, corruption in politics, you're all shocked. But see, Richard doesn't want to be a hero like Brady or Lacey, because the fact is, you're dead, and it's a bit hard to turn a profit once you're dead, isn't it, mate? So Richard decides if there's no point getting off the island, you might as well make being here worth your while. So he launches an attack on destabilising the settlement. Get more control in your hands. David Hoy is trying an experimental sloop out in the harbour, and she sinks, taking with her 3 convict lives. That's unfortunate, isn't it, Richard? You don't look too cut up about it. Oh, well, we'll say it's collateral damage. Because while you may not have intended the loss of the convicts, we know you intended the loss of the ship. Because when she's retrieved her ballast, instead She'd have been rough, square-cut quarry stone, like you were told to fill her up with. No, you filled her up with this stuff, didn't you? Smooth, round, quartzite river stone, rolling around like marbles in the bottom of the boat. As she lifts, the ballast all goes to one side, over she goes, success. Commandant Butler now has to go to Governor Arthur and explain how a group of unintelligent, uneducated, grubby little convicts pulled off such a brilliant act of sabotage under his military-trained nose. He's got no option but to resign. 31st of March, 1829, end of the March quarter, is the date that everything changes. It's going to take some time for Butler's replacement to get here, so into the breach steps David Hoy, an equally ambitious man, but he has to negotiate. He sank all his money into a shipyard in Hobart, wants to build good ships with hewn pine, can't find skilled labour, so he comes here to use you lot. But wait, we're back to puzzle one, aren't we? You can't build good ships with slave labour. What do you need?
Skills.
Skilled men, but hang on, he's not teaching you a bunch of skills and then you lose in shipyards again. I saw one ship go down, it broke his heart, so he's prepared to negotiate. What do you want, Richard? We can't pay you, you're convicts. Tell you what though, we know about a little black market economy. What say we turn a blind eye to it? If you can turn a profit, you can keep it, fair play. What's that? You want better rations? Not such a dumb idea. We get more work out of you when we feed you properly. All right, we'll even let you have some rum if you exceed those quotas. You want a comfortable place to sleep? Where would we put you? Bloody courthouse, Butler's idea anyway. Move in, lads, he's not here. You want us to go easy on the punishment rates? Well, again, we get more work out of you. We're not waiting on those backs to heal. All right, but what say you lot finally start behaving and then we'll lay off the lash and the lock-up quite happily. What, you want to go fishing on the weekends? Oh, all right, Richard. Have we got an enterprise workplace agreement? That's how it's done. Through negotiation, David Hoy has taken this place of bloodiness and despair to place of education, industry and training. 131 vessels built here during a 12-year period, 96 of those during the 5-year period that David Hoy was in charge. Because he knew you can't build good ships with slave labour. Instead, he's essentially created Australia's first TAFE college. And it's so good at teaching men skills, what do the government do? Shut it down. See, Governor Arthur's vindictive. He doesn't want you having skills when you take a leave. He sets about constructing Port Arthur, a more systematic approach to breaking your spirits. You don't want to go there. In the early days of Port Arthur, it reverts back to moving rocks from here to there and back again. The last 10 convicts left here to complete the final ship, the Frederick, did not want to go to Port Arthur either. So they nicked the ship, sailed at 10,000 miles to Chile, where they lived as free men for a full year until 4 of them were handed back to the British. And if you want to know what happened to them, that's the story we tell each night in the play The Ship That Never Was at 5:30 p.m. at the Richard Davey Amphitheatre back in Strahan. But speaking of ships, unless you want to have a crack at building one, it's time you head back onto Harbour Master.